Ang average po ay nasa 22.5%. Ang Singapore po ang pinakamababa at 17%. So ang gusto po talaga natin ay ibaba ang corporate income tax.
Income tax base ng gobyerno, revenue base ng gobyerno, more or less 34% for corporate taxes.
So dun sa personal income tax na bumaba nga. Kasi po ang practice dati ng mga union,
Every union, kahit na-qualified dun sa incentive sa isang batas, dapat tignan nga yung labor record.
Magandang umaga po mga kaibigan. Magandang umaga po sa ating lahat. Alam po ninyo, ang isa sa mga bumulaga sa atin ay yung 6.7% na inflation noong nakalipas na Setyembre. In-announce po yan noong nakalipas na Huwebes. Samantalang lumabas din ang balita mula sa South China Morning Post na kahit ang mga manggagawa sa Hong Kong na sinasabing masaya dahilan sa paglakas ng piso, tila nalulungkot din. Sapagkat karamihan naman ng nabibili sa Pilipinas ay mula sa ibang bansa. So tingnan natin kung ano bang balanse nito. Ano bang kalagayan ng ating ekonomiya, lalo pa at merong panukalang Train 2. Ito pong House Bill na ito ay pumasa na on third reading. Doon po naman sa House of Representatives at ngayon ay nasa Senado na. At tila merong rough sailing sa Senado sapagkat maraming mga tanong yung mga mambabatas doon. But let's focus on Train 2 and inflation and purchasing power because this is very vital to us. Iwan muna natin yung politika. Politics will find its way sa ating sistema because after all, they say, it's the country's aspirin. Yun yung ating gamot sa lahat ng sakit ng ulo. Pero today, we're happy to have with us ang Assistant Secretary ng Department of Finance, si Asst. Tony Lambino. Narito rin si Sony Africa ng IBON, Julius Cainglet ng FFW at si Professor Bernard Karganilla na isa ring kolumnista sa Business Insight ng Malaya. So let's start. Ano po itong Train 2? Will this be favorable to us, Filipinos, and ordinary mortals like me and the rest of the audience? Please.
Magandang umaga, Melo. Salamat. At magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat, sa mga kasama ko dito sa table. Magandang umaga po. Ang Train 2 o ang Trabaho Bill, ito po ay ang panukalang batas na naglalayon na gawing mas patas, mas simple, at mas transparent ang ating corporate tax system. Ang corporate tax system ho kasi natin ay may ilang mga structural problems tulad ng una, masyado po siyang mataas, no, pagdating sa corporate income tax rate. Tayo po ay ang may pinakamataas na CIT rate sa ASEAN region, nasa 30% po yan. Ang average po ay nasa 22.5%. Ang Singapore po ang pinakamababa at 17%. So ang gusto po talaga natin ay ibaba ang corporate income tax rate from a high of 30% to, in 10 years, 20%. Ang version ng bill na pinasa po ng mababang kapulungan ay staggered po ang pagbaba niyan. Every 2 years, 2% ang baba ng ating CIT rate. Ang karamihan ho ng nagbabayad ng pinakamataas na corporate income tax rate sa ASEAN ay ang mga small and medium enterprises. There are around 90,000 SMEs at sila po ay nagbabayad ng regular rate. On the other hand, meron din ho tayong mga nakakatanggap ng discounted rate pagdating sa income tax. Karamihan ho sa kanila ay mga malalaki o mga medium enterprises na hati po between foreign and local firms. At on average, yung kanila pong net taxable income rate ay nasa 6 to 13%. Kumpara po sa 30% na binabayaran ng ating mga small and medium enterprises. Ngayon, mahalaga po ang incentives. Dapat ho natin ibigay ang incentives for the right reasons. Yung mga rason na po, ang mga rason po na kasama dun sa aming criteria ay creating good jobs for the Filipino worker, investment in the countryside, yung mga areas na mas mabagal po ang economic activity, at saka yung pagdala ng bagong research and technology dito sa Pilipinas na marami hong magandang spillover effect. Kaya gusto ho talaga natin magbigay ng superior incentives for those who wish to make those contributions and do well in business at the same time. At doon po sa Trabaho Bill, ito po ay tingin ko hindi ho alam ng marami. Mayroon mga enhanced incentives menu na pag may nagtatanong sa amin, bakit nyo tinatanggal ang incentives? Ang sagot ho namin ay actually hindi po. Gusto lang natin i-sunset yung mga incentives ng mga masyado ng matagal na nakakatanggap nitong special rate. Dahil sa Pilipinas lang po may forever pagdating sa incentives. Tayo po ay may mga kumpanya na narito na nakakatanggap po ng mga diskwento sa kanilang tax rate for 20, 30, or 40 years. Doon po sa ibang bansa hanggang 20 years lang po. Kaya gusto ho natin i-sunset po yung mga nakakatanggap na for a long time, for a reasonable amount of time, sabay ho yan sa pagbaba ng corporate income tax rate for everybody.
Okay. But do you have an inventory of locators in our special economic zones, and have you checked kung ilan pa yung natitira mula sa original?
Dahil po sa Team Talo na pinasa nung Aquino administration under Secretary Purisima, yung Tax Incentives Management and Transparency Act. Pinasa po yan ng 2015. So the 2015 data are available. Yung mga mayroong natanggap na incentives ng 2015, 2,844 companies. At ang incentives naman na binigay natin, a total of 301 billion pesos. So 2,844 companies shared 301 billion pesos of incentives.
Okay. So, in short, what you're saying is Train 2 would be beneficial to the Republic of the Philippines.
It will be beneficial for several reasons. One, it will lower the corporate income tax rate for everybody para mas maging competitive po tayo. At lalong-lalong po yung mga SME natin, mas malaki po yung maaring gawin nilang puhunan sa pagpapaganda ng kanilang productivity at saka sa pag-hire ng mas maraming manggagawa. Yun yung una. Pangalawa, gusto rin ho natin makapag-attract ng investors through an enhanced and according nga to Congressman Joey Salceda, one of the most generous incentives menus in the region. Kwento ko lang po ng konti kung anong laman ng incentives menu na to. Of course, merong income tax holiday. Yan naman ho ay standard pagdating sa karamihan ng ating mga competitors. Gusto rin ho natin bigyan ng accelerated depreciation option yung ating mga investors up to 10 years to depreciate buildings and 5 years to depreciate machinery. Meron din po tayong 50% additional deduction on direct labor expense, 100% additional deduction on research and development, 100% additional deduction on training costs incurred, 100% deduction on infrastructure development. Tapos may mga deduction din po for reinvestment in the manufacturing industry. At saka gusto natin i-enhance yung tinatawag na NOLCO, yung Net Operating Loss Carryover. Kung hindi po kumita yung kumpanya for a few years, pwede pong i-carry over to reduce taxes in the future. Okay. That used to be 3 years. Dito po sa Trabaho Bill, we want to extend the NOLCO period to 5 years. So, in addition to that menu, we also want to give additional incentives for additional reasons. No? Ano po yung reasons na ito? Investments in agribusiness for projects located outside Metro Manila and other urban areas. Additional 2 years of incentives for projects located in less developed areas or recovering from conflict or from major disasters. At saka yung mga registered activities po na relocating from Metro Manila and selected regions of regions 3 and 4A to other areas of the country. Okay. So we want to incentivize bringing economic activity and investment to areas that need it the most.
Yeah. Assistant Secretary, hindi ba sapat ng incentive yung pagbawalan mo lang manghingi yung mga barangay sa mga magninegosyo?
Ang sabi nga po ng ating mga locators, they would like to retain the one-stop shop feature of yung mga investment promotion agencies. Kumbaga kung PEZA o kung BOI o kung SEZA yung kausap nila, dapat yun lang yung kausap nila. Through consultations and through conversations with leaders of Congress, mareretain po yun dun sa Trabaho Bill.
Okay. Sunny, anong pananaw ng IBON sa Train 2? Dahil yung Train 1, talagang may problema rin daw tayo ron. Ano ba ang inyong masasabi? Please.
Para po sa amin yung Trabaho Bill, train din actually siya, syempre. Kambal siya, hindi siya karibal ng Train 1. Yung pinaka-main problem namin dun sa Train 1, bahagi siya na pag-erode ng revenue base ng government. Bakit? Yung cuts in corporate income taxes in Train 1 and Train 2 together. Kasi
Train 1 was not revenue negative.
Hindi, pero ganito po. Tapusin niyo ako. Kasi yung Train 1, binawasan na collect from personal income taxes na as of 2015, 21% ng revenues ay galing sa individual income taxes. Yung Train 2 cuts corporate income taxes accounting for 34% ng revenues in 2015. So ang netong epekto ng Train 2 in terms of yung income tax base ng gobyerno, revenue base ng gobyerno, more or less 34% for corporate taxes, 21% for individual income taxes. In effect, 55% ng revenue base ng government is eroded by Train 1 and Train 2. Sa tingin namin problem yun kasi ang kinakat ay direct income taxes, which is unfortunately worsening yung regressiveness ng tax system natin. I think well-established na, with due respect, well-established na yung Train 1 is grossly regressive. The poorest Filipinos don't get anything from Train 1, but they pay more because of the mga consumption taxes niya. So, yung Train 2, tingin namin, by cutting the corporate income taxes and further eroding 34% of the revenue base of the Philippine government, that worsens regressiveness. And para sa amin, any tax system has to be conscious about yung country conditions. Yung reality sa Philippines, malaking informal sector natin. Tapos yung formal sector natin, that is actually your main revenue base. And yung nakakalungkot dyan, by shifting from direct taxation to consumption taxes, that's actually in recognition of this informality of the economy, but in recognition with a conclusion in the wrong direction. Kasi pabigat siya dun sa mas marami. Tapos ang proposal namin actually is quite straightforward. We do agree kailangan i-lessen yung corporate income tax on small and medium enterprises. We also do agree kailangan incentive system because that's the government's role to incentivize good kinds of economic activity and disincentivize bad kinds. Ang proposal namin is actually not to cut the corporate income tax. Bakit? Because the main beneficiaries from that, in terms of revenues, will actually be the biggest corporations who are not actually paying 30% income tax ngayon. We did a rough calculation on the top 10 firms by market capitalization in the Philippines. Their effective tax rate is only 14.6%. That's less than half the 30% nominal corporate income tax rate. That's because yung majority of the big top 10 corporations by market cap, they pay from 12 to 20% lamang ng kanilang income as tax because of a lot of reasons. And I think a lot of it has to do with the mga incentives being given by the government. So para sa amin, the big firms aren't really paying 30% now. So kung babaan pa yan, ang worry namin is they might have more leeway to further cut the income taxes they're paying. So ang straightforward proposal namin, as late as 1986, the Philippines actually had a two-tiered corporate income tax system. 100,000 pesos yung cut-off point nila, syempre, doesn't mean very much right now. Above 100,000 pesos, 35% tax rate. Tapos below that, 25% tax rate. Ang proposal namin, kung seryoso naman yung administration to help small and medium enterprises, di-inflate natin 100,000. At current prices, that's 700,000 pesos. So ang proposal namin, keep the existing corporate income tax rate for firms over 700,000 pesos and cut it to 20%, which is the proposal right now dun sa bills in Congress and in the Senate. Ibaba siya 20%. And para sa amin, that's also on par with what other countries in the region are doing. Kasi na palaging argument yeah, but other countries have lower nominal income tax rates, sabayin natin dyan. Sige, we don't agree na ganun talagang dapat takbo ng pag-iisip in general because what happens in our own borders is our own cargo natin yan. But countries like Brunei, Cambodia, Thailand, and Malaysia actually have two-tiered tax systems to support yung smaller firms nila. Of course, that might go against yung sinasabi ng government, simpler is always better. Pero hindi, sabi nga ni Einstein, make things as simple as possible, but not simpler. So simplicity in its own sake shouldn't be a value. If it has to be a bit more complicated to be fair, to be just, and to be supportive of small and medium enterprises, the trabaho ng government to deal with the complexity. Regarding the incentives, we completely agree with the motherhood statement, which is motherhood nga naman, we have to incentivize good kinds of economic activity. Ang concern lang namin, the incentive, the metrics for giving incentive right now, they're not sharp enough. They're too generous, especially for foreign firms, because actually they seem to be designed to attract firms from locating in other parts of the region. Para sa amin, it's so basic. Let's incentivize activities that develop Filipino productivity. Let's incentivize activities that increase linkages with Filipino firms. Let's
Okay.
increase incentives, of course, for firms generating employment. But sa totoo lang, that's a soft incentive kasi any investment will create employment. So para sa amin, talasin natin. We want to strengthen Filipino agriculture and industry. We want to develop Filipino productivity. It's not simple, it's going to be hard, but yun ang bigyan natin incentives. Para in the long term, we'll have cheaper food, we'll have more production, we have less reliance on imports, our peso isn't in chronic decline, etc., etc. So para sa amin, again, we agree with the incentive scheme in general. We agree na may menu of options, but it should be applied much more strictly to firms locating in the Philippines, developing local production capacity.
Very good. Short reaction, please. Bago tayo humingi ng reaction doon sa dalawang kasama pa natin.
Salamat, Mr. Africa, and the thoughts that you shared, no, from IBON. I think medyo hindi po na bibigyan ng balanced view yung ating tax reform program dahil ang sinasabi ni Mr. Africa ay revenue negative. But that's only looking at the revenue eroding side. Actually, the packages were designed to be balanced, which means merong revenue eroding side, meron ding revenue enhancing measures in the same package. So to make a claim that it is revenue eroding only and only focusing on one side, I think is actually not looking at all of the factors and actually selecting only those that that support their argument. So kailangan ho natin tingnan na actually package 1 was 90 billion in additional and incremental revenues that are being invested in infrastructure and social protection programs. No? 70% of incremental revenues are earmarked for infrastructure, and we are seeing 50 billion pesos being invested per month in addition to, or actually 50 billion pesos being invested in infrastructure per month. That, if you look at the employment side of that, if you look at 30% of that being or going to wages, that's 15 billion in additional wages for construction and construction-related jobs per month. Second, with regard to the regressive system, we need to realize that because our tax system had not been reformed in such a long time, in decades, we had in the personal income tax side some of the highest rates. There was income creep. People who were earning 500,000 and above were in the same tax bracket as the tycoons. No, that was unfair and unjust, and that's what Train 1 corrected. No? So there was the rates were too high and the base was too narrow. In terms of trabaho, ganun din. The rates are too high and the base is too narrow. So if you want to talk about a regressive system, it's one where too few people pay and everybody else, and those people or firms carry the burden for everybody else. It should be broader and fairer. Third, sabi ni Mr. Africa that the biggest corporations are the ones who will benefit from Train. Again, that is a selective view because the biggest corporations are actually parts of conglomerates. And conglomerates include companies that have been receiving incentives. No? So if we were to pass the Trabaho bill, no, in a balanced way, lower CIT, also sunset the incentives that have been received for too long, I would recommend looking at both sides together because it's not just, again, a one-sided bill. They were designed to be balanced. Last, on the two-tiered system that is being proposed, from an equity perspective, in principle and as motherhood, it makes sense. The problem is, the problem is, it provides and creates a lot of problems in tax administration. Companies that are in two-tiered systems tend to game the system. Yung malalaking kumpanya, hinahati-hati para pumasok dun sa mas mababang tax bracket. And kailangan ho natin i-mitigate yung ganong risk. And last, pagdating sa pagtalasin ang ating incentives menu, actually, that is left to the strategic investments priorities plan because the law should not choose winners and losers. The law should set up the institutional infrastructure in order for the BOI to put in place a fair, equitable, and strategic plan in terms of what areas we would like to be most competitive in. Agribusiness certainly is a special area. So in addition to the BOI setting the SIPP, we already said that there would be superior incentives for those who invest in agribusiness. Yun po.
Okay.
Salamat.
Reaction muna ulit. You'd like to say something? Sige, bago natin tanongin yung dalawa. Maganda itong usapang to
Apologies na muna, iklihan ko po. Dun sa revenue enhancing, to be clear po, ang problema namin is exactly how the revenues were enhanced. Because income taxes were cut on the richest Filipinos, ang pampuno is, may linawin ako, teka, pero ako magsalita, sir? Just moderate.
Yes, please.
To be clear, because income taxes were cut on the richest Filipinos, the revenue-enhancing measure was from increased consumption taxes, including on the poorest tens of millions of Filipinos who don't get any personal income tax benefits. Ngayon, bakit ako mag-react ako sa reaction, ha? Sige. Alam ko, I'm sure na dinig nyo na lahat yung claim na the richest Filipinos get their marginal tax rate increase from 30 to 35%. And that's actually in many of the press releases of the Department of Finance as the bullet statement na taxes on the rich are higher. Sa totoo lang, we have to qualify that kasi the formula for computing income tax payments is not 35% times total income. It's 35% of the balance of your bracket. So example ko dyan, if you're earning 18 million pesos, you don't pay 35 million on 18 million pesos. 35%. You pay 35% on 18 million minus the new tax bracket, which is 500,000?
No. You pay 35% over and above.
The bracket.
8 million and above.
Ayan. So 18 million minus 8 million, 10 million, you pay a lump sum plus the 35% on that. Okay, ito yung mangyayari dyan. And we did the simulations. We also saw the simulations of the National Tax Research Center. Did you know, after trains income taxes by 2023, if you're earning up to 18 million pesos a year, you will end up paying less taxes because of that formula. Because nga, it's a lump sum plus 35% of the balance of your income minus the bracket. So ang mangyayari actually, because of Train 1, the only ones after 2023 paying higher income taxes are Filipinos in the 19 million bracket and above. And there may be a few thousand Filipinos earning 19 million pesos and above. These are the only rich Filipinos paying more under Train 1 by 2023. In practice, that also means if you're earning less than 18 million pesos, you will be paying less income taxes. So para sa amin, we completely agree there's a need to update the income tax system, especially for the middle class income earners. But sa amin, may problema na you lump in people earning from 500,000 to 18 million pesos, medyo beyond middle class na yun eh. So para sa amin, ang point is, to be clear, income tax rates were not raised on most rich Filipinos. So they were only raised on Filipinos earning more or less 19 million pesos and above. Yung balance lang between middle and 19 million, nabawasan yung income tax nila. Pero ang point namin doon, that is a key point for our argument the revenue-enhancing measure of train is to tax the poor who don't get personal income tax benefits. And with due respect, na-point out namin ito sa Senate. The simulations of the Department of Finance were imputing personal income tax gains even for the poorest decile, second decile, third decile, fourth decile, which is not true. Most of those people in the lowest 30% don't pay personal income tax. But in the DF simulations, may income tax gains sa kanila. So point namin, to quickly sum it up, it's not true that 99% of taxpayers, if that means Filipinos, benefit from Train 1, because the net effect is the poorest 60% of Filipinos who don't get personal income tax benefits, baka may ilan lang doon, but they pay higher consumption taxes, they have net money out of their pockets, whereas most of the rich, except siguro the ones earning 90 million and above, they have more in their pockets. Teka, kailangan ko point. Second point, infrastructure. The claim is, nadinig namin from the NTRC, part of the progressivity of train is because the revenues are spent on pro-poor matters. Actually, hindi. If you look at the infrastructure projects ng government, 64% are in NCR, CLST, which are the regions with the lowest poverty incidence in the country. So, on a global view, over almost 2/3 of infrastructure spending goes to the 3 richest regions in the country, whereas the poorest other balance of regions, paghatian nila yung 1/3 infrastructure budget na yan. Of course, may mga argument dyan. That's where the economic activities, etc. Pero that can't be argued as pro-poor if the concentration of infrastructure spending of the flagship projects is in NCR, CL, and ST. Ikalawa, even those transport projects, we have to argue, 90% of build flagships are for transport. Of course, mobility is good, but to what extent is better mobility going to actually increase beyond the jobs of construction? To what extent will better mobility really benefit the poorest? Directly, well, those who can afford the hopefully subsidized Mega Manila subway. But in general, transport infrastructure is not, as a matter of principle, pro-poor in itself. So I think that remains to be established. Yung last point ko, yung point ng tax administration, yung nga eh. I mean, if you have a problem with the tax folks, let's strengthen the capacity for tax folks. Kumbaga, why let the difficulty of tax administration be a justification for putting in place a regressive tax scheme? But if it's bad, improve it. Don't go for the worst option of institutionalizing a regressive tax system that really taxes the rich less and taxes the poor more. And sa amin, the numbers are there to show that. We've shared actually freely with the Department of Finance, and I think the irony, we actually use Department of Finance data to generate our numbers. So para sa amin, that's quite straightforward, and Train 1 does not benefit 99% of taxpayers. That is not true at all.
Okay. Please.
These were direct points. So, okay lang kasi I also have to...
Yes, please.
Just a few things, no? I call out the inaccuracy. I have to dang respond. The claim of inaccuracy is inaccurate.
Okay. Sige.
With regard to the 8 million and above tax bracket, which was raised to 35%, the lump sum beneath that is at the next tax bracket. No, that doon siya computed. So actually, malinaw na those earning 8 million and above are indeed paying more than everybody else. That is one. No? Second, we also exempted everyone paying 250,000 and below. Dati, ang exempted lang po sa personal income tax ay ang mga minimum wage earners. Ngayon, all the way to 250,000 annual income is now exempted. That also means, including those above 250,000 and below 8 million, parang may additional 14th month pay, no, which is spread out over the year, which is more money in the pocket so that Filipino taxpayers can choose to do what they want with that additional income. Also, I think again, no, selective na naman medyo yung comments kasi nakalimutan din yung ating mga social protection programs. That 30% of incremental revenues are earmarked for the social protection programs. No? It has to be admitted that they were not rolled out as quickly as they should have. But that being said, in the Pantawid Pasada program, there are now 140,000 cards that have been produced and loaded with grant, no, yung ayuda para sa ating mga jeepney drivers na nagda-drive ng mga jeepneys na may lehitimong prangkisa. Pangalawa, pagdating po sa unconditional cash transfers, nasa mga 6.8 million na po ang ating distribution. Dapat ho umabot talaga yan ng 10 million. But again, no, Mr. Africa said that there was no benefit to those in the lowest deciles, except meron naman ho talaga na nakasama sa disenyo ng train law na 10 million beneficiaries for the unconditional cash transfers for 3 years. Yan po ay 200 pesos a month in 2018 and 300 pesos a month in 2019 and 2020. Pagdating naman po sa infrastructure spending, it's true that the flagship projects are mostly transport and interconnectivity of transport systems. But what I was referring to earlier in terms of the 50 billion that is being spent in infrastructure is actually infrastructure that are not the flagship projects. These are, and I actually went around Mindanao, no? Nag-land trip kami from Davao to Cagayan de Oro, and nag-land trip din po ako in Northern Luzon. Doon po sa may Nueva Ecija, papuntang Benguet. At nakita po talaga natin, no, na road improvement after road widening, bridge building, bridge enhancements and strengthening, school buildings, health facilities. Yan po ang nakikita all over the country ngayon. And while there is still yung hatian po, no, ng infrastructure budget, ay mas malaki nga naman dun sa mga more developed regions kasi there's a greater need there to connect those areas to other areas, outlying areas. Now is the time when the poorest regions have their highest shares of infrastructure budgets. That is also a fact.
You're sure of it?
Yes.
Okay. Kaya ko nabanggit.
Not highest in terms of the nominal, but higher compared to
year on year.
previous
Okay.
allotments. Opo.
Very well. Bago kayo umalis. FFW. Ano impact sa manggagawa ng Train 1 at ng magiging Train 2?
Okay, actually yung Train 1 po, bagamat generally ay negatibo yung nakitang impact sa simula pa lang ng maraming manggagawa. Actually, meron kaming guarded optimism, lalo dun sa personal income tax na bumaba nga. Kasi po, ang practice dati ng mga union, kapag ka nag-CCBA, yung mismo mga kasapi ayaw nang padagdagan yung kanilang minimum wage na sahod. Dahil pag nadagdagan nga naman dati, ay matataksan pa. So, sa halip, yung ibang mga benepisyo ang kanilang tinataasan, maaring cola, maaring benepisyo sa kalusugan, etc. etc. Kaso, syempre, pagdating ng kwentahan ng 13th month pay, ay hindi kasama yung dagdag na yon. So, nung pong pumasok itong Train 1, yun po yung maliit na liwanag na nakita ng mga manggagawa kasi henceforth, wala nang pipigil para mag-bargain para more than the minimum wage ang makuha ng mga kasapi namin hanggang umabot doon sa threshold na 20,500 or so. Kaso, pasok po tayo sa realidad.
Sige nga.
Ang realidad po ay yung mga bagong uri ng buwis, particular po dun sa mga produktong matatamis. Kasi bukod sa forever, mahilig din tayo sa sweet di ba? So, nangyari po ay...
Yung isang mama nga, sweetheart, ang hilig di ba?
Opo. Sa Hong Kong yun. Ay, hindi pala. Ang problema po natin, yung pong pangkalahatang dinagdag ng presyo dahil po sa inflation, isama pa po yung pong epekto na itong mga produktong gumagawa ng mga matatamis na, itong mga kumpanyang gumagawa ng mga matatamis na produkto, ay ginawang dahilan ang train para magtanggal ng tao. Doon po naging malaki yung impact laban sa mga manggagawa.
Okay. So, mula naman sa akademya.
Akala ko dito ako sa journalist.
Hindi, kaya nga Sige, let's start.
Okay, good morning. Good morning, colleagues. Before I comment, is this the first time you three gentlemen have sat down in a forum?
Together.
Yeah. Okay, so among three things that journalists can do, number one is to report.
Of course.
And we're already doing it because we placed these three gentlemen together for the first time.
Yeah.
So, for example, after our talk, I would ask for your emails and I would give the same 3 questions. I hope you respond because if you don't, you're leaving the field to the other 2 gentlemen. Isn't that what we do?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, number 2, Asek, you said the law should not pick winners and losers.
No, this particular.
This particular law. And yet, Magsaysay said, those who have less in life should have more in law. So the second thing we do, we juxtapose economic and non-economic. And then number 3, what else can we do? Well, provide other data, let's say from books. So for example, meron tayong listahan dito. Pili lang tayo ng isa. Yung Confessions of an Economic Hitman na merong corporatocracy, tapos may ahente, yung mga corporations na ang trabaho, impluwensyahan yung mga gobyerno na mapaboran sila. So, that's the third thing we can do is report on these books. Ang haba ng listahan. Isang nga rito tungkol sa Pilipinas.
Hindi bale, okay lang. Sige. So,
Ayun.
gagawin mo, email mo sa akin yan para maiba tuloy
May
natin sa
bibigay
kanila.
ko na sa'yo.
Ay, very good, very good. Pero,
Ayun, yun lang.
okay, maganda itong usapan natin eh. We'd like to entertain questions from the floor because the good Assistant Secretary is leaving us because he has a meeting with the Department of Finance. Let's start the ball rolling. Toru, please, do the honors.
Good morning, sirs. I would like to ask Assistant Secretary Lambino, also the Mr. Sony Africa. Do you think if foreign countries like Japanese company leave Philippines and it may reduce employment in Philippines because of the Trabaho bill? Do you think? Could you comment
Yeah.
on the issue?
The hope is that both local companies and foreign investors will see that the Philippines is an even better place for investment because of the Trabaho bill. As I said, lower corporate income tax for everybody. And secondly, and again, no, that's 90,000 small and medium enterprises out of 115,000 companies that pay taxes. And second, a better incentives menu for those who would like to make contributions to our national development and do well in business at the same time. So I mentioned what those criteria would be. And we invite everyone to take a look also at the incentives menu in the draft legislation, because you might just like what you see, no? And find it to be very attractive to expand operations or even to register new activities for investment.
Okay. Julius?
Yeah, just quickly, no, especially in reference to Train 2, there's mention of incentives. Pero I follow up on what these gentlemen have said. No? We give incentives, we reward those who do good business, those who do our people well. No? But the problem is, especially in locators, ay marami pong nantatarantado sa mga manggagawa.
Paliwanag mo yan?
Halimbawa po, bigyan ko po ng concrete example. Sa Mactan Export Processing Zone, yung po mga members po na nagkaisa, Labor Coalition, they were trying to organize workers there. No? And yung pong kanilang pag-organize, yung pong activity nila, parang ginawang tantamount to a criminal activity by the operators of the zone. To the point na mismong yung mga mukha po ng mga organizer ay pinicturan, pinlasta doon po sa security office at sinabing, wanted ito dahil mga kriminal.
Ganun.
Opo. So, ibig sabihin, itatali po natin dapat yung pong ating incentives na bibigay in terms of taxes, rationalizing the taxes, doon po sa social policy.
Okay.
How they treat
Yeah.
Opo, kasi pagbayaran nila muna yung kanilang ginawang kabulastugan at hanggat hindi pa nila na pagbabayaran yon, wala silang karapatang makakuha ng incentives.
Okay.
Our quick answer is we don't know. We've heard the news reports about certain businesses complaining. We're not sure if that's really going to happen, that they will pull out. But I think in general, we're skeptical that they will be pulling out completely because because it's not that easy to just pull out investments. And I think even local firms, net, if they will end up having more money in their pockets, especially small and medium enterprises, we're a bit more optimistic that the net effect actually won't be that negative from the trabaho. But that's not our concern. Our concern is the regressiveness of the tax system. Our concern is the actual contribution to long-term economic development, because we really need a more we need to take the long view in terms of development.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Tama yung kasama natin si labor union. Kahit na qualified dun sa incentive sa isang batas, dapat tignan nga yung labor record. Saka pati environmental record na rin. Kung naninira ba ng kalikasan yung kumpanya na yun, deserve ba niya yung
Incentive. Okay.
November 10, we'll have a management conference, a Masters in Management. Since these two gentlemen are nice guys, why don't you have a friendly debate at our conference? November 10.
Okay. Very well. Thank you. Yes. Follow up.
I may have just one follow-up. Assistant Secretary, some companies are worrying about the FIRB, who decide the incentive. It will be FIRB. It will be chaired by the DOF, right? Not the DTI. Yeah. Could you comment on this?
The Fiscal Incentives Review Board is part of the Trabaho bill. The role of the FIRB will be limited to setting policy, that's one, but the investment promotion agencies will still be the ones who will approve most registrations, most applications for incentives. It will only go up to the FIRB when there is a deadlock in the voting, whether to provide the incentive or not, or when there is a risk to the environment, to people or the economy. When the high risk in those terms are identified, then the FIRB will decide on the incentive application. But for most applications, the investment promotion agencies will still be the ones to deliberate and approve. Now, why is the FIRB so important and the chairmanship of the Department of Finance? Because we also want to make sure that the incentives that we give come back to us in social benefits. We want to make sure that they are social welfare enhancing, which is why the Trabaho bill also requires cost-benefit analysis on these sectors that the BOI will be the one to decide on. Nasabi po ninyo, sir, na picking winners and losers. The reason why for the Trabaho bill, the sectors are not pre-selected is because the national priorities and national needs will shift over time. Kaya po dapat hindi naka-pre-select dun sa batas. But the Board of Investments, through the Strategic Investments Priorities Plan, will do 3-year reviews on which sectors should be those that will be provided incentives. So that is why yun po yung nasabi ko kanina. Salamat po.
Okay.
I agree, except that sometimes I agree, but sometimes we juxtapose quotes.
Yeah.
Like it's just an example.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Questions from the field? Yes, please.
Good afternoon po.
Morning po.
Morning po, sorry. Jillian Cortez po from Business World po.
Please.
May I ask po, kay ASEC po, Chua has been quoted to say na with the Trabaho bill, it's gonna generate employment. But on the other hand, yung DOLE po, they said they see a problem in terms of employment pag na-enact po yung Trabaho bill. And from what I know po, na DOF and DOLE will have a position paper together which they will submit po to the Senate po. May I ask, ano po yung findings nyo po regarding employment together with the DOLE po?
I was at the hearing when that question was asked, no? And the director from DOLE shared that thought. I have to share also the context of that quote kasi
Okay po.
she was asked repeatedly, although what she was trying to say, I think, was that the study was not yet finished. And then she was pressured to give an answer right then and there. So yung nangyari, based on partial results lamang yung nasagot niya yata. No? Yun yung basa ko dun sa konteksto ng quote. The Department of Finance has made a set of computations, and these have been submitted to the senators as well as members of Congress. No? And our computation is that the net gain in employment by 2029, which is when the lowest corporate income tax will be reached at 20%, will be around 1.4 million jobs in addition. No? So that is the estimate that we have shared with Congress and the Senate.
Okay, thank you po.
Coverage kasi ng news daily at saka hourly. So, legit pa rin yung balita na yun, kahit na partial results. We might as well ask the National Anti-Poverty Commission, diba, anong posisyon nila rito?
Magandang matanong din yun. We will ask them, why not? Follow up?
Well, have you ever done this, yung position paper nyo in partnership with the DOLE, is there any findings yet on that paper po na isasubmit nyo pa lang sa Congress?
If I'm not mistaken, in fact, DOLE shared the methodology. We're at that stage of the conversation with DOF. So we are still in the process of even validating the methodology that was used for the study. Kaya medyo maaga pa po talaga, and parang na-pressure ho yata yung kasama natin na magbigay ng sagot, although to the best of my understanding, hindi pa po tapos yung study.
May I ask what exactly was the study? Is this more on employment or net gains on the employment po?
Can you repeat the question? Sorry.
What exactly did the senators ask you to find with the DOLE po regarding yung study po na isasabit nyo dapat sa Congress?
I think the senators wanted to know what the final result of the study would be. Kasi nga nasabi na hindi pa siya tapos. So the senators, particularly, I think it was Senator Angara, no, said, please submit that study once it's done. Now, with regard to the scope and the methodology being used, that is still being discussed between the two agencies. So, hindi pa po final, pati po yung methodology.
Okay, thank you po.
Next, please. Yes, Mr. ABS-CBN.
Hello, Warren De Guzman, ABS-CBN. Just to follow up with Asst. Lambino regarding that study, we spoke with Senator Sony Angara. He said that basically it won't move until they get the results of the study. He also mentioned something else they're expecting from NEDA. So, as part of, do the economic managers know when they'll be able to submit the requirements of the Senate committee?
Yes, there is also a NEDA study, if I'm not mistaken. I haven't seen it, but that is why the DOF sent its estimates already, and those were submitted, if I'm not mistaken, last week. No, I'm not mistaken. They were submitted last week.
Well, regarding the other studies, do you have an idea when they will be submitted?
I would need to defer to DOLE and to NEDA on those.
Yes, please.
Why is it that there are separate studies being conducted by different departments? Isn't it being coordinated under DOF?
I think it's good that there are several studies being conducted. Then we can actually look at the sensitivity of the results based on different assumptions, based on different methodologies. It's a good thing, no? I came from the academe not so long ago, and having a multiplicity of studies on a topic is actually very positive, in fact, to getting comparative results. That being said, yes, there is coordination. The conversations are being had, and as I mentioned, even the methodology is being checked across agencies. So yes, there is coordination, but at the same time, multiple studies, I think, is a good thing.
Was the coordination not done before you submitted your proposal to Congress?
The jobs question was something that was pretty clear to us would be a net positive gain. Mainly because it's simple. If you lower the corporate income tax for sectors of business, yung mga negosyo natin, that employ, yung mga SMEs, no? That employ, actually I have to add the M's, no? The micro, small, and medium enterprises. That employ 63% of our workers. Then it is clear that with more capital, kung mas marami ho yung pwede nilang ipuhunan, ay over time, it won't happen right away, but over time, they will enhance productivity. And it is clear that once you enhance productivity and increase your business, you will need more workers. Now that was clear. And then malinaw din sa amin na doon sa fiscal incentives side, that superior incentives would be provided for those who create good jobs. And as you know, in the bill, those two core elements exist. So, but since the good senators asked the question, then we of course complied right away and conducted our estimates.
So just to be clear, Asek, you did not discuss with Dole the impact of the Train 2 on jobs because it was clear to the DOF that you would actually be net positive. You did not discuss it with them prior to submitting your proposal to Congress.
As far as I know, there are multiple conversations ongoing. If there was, I was not at that meeting. No? But let me check, and I'll get back to you, Warren.
But one thing is
I'll
sure,
get your-
Asek, you were not kept in the dark, no?
No.
At least we're sure of that.
No, there are just so many things going on at the same time. No? But let me confirm that and then get back to you, Warren. Yeah, thanks.
Okay. More questions? Yeah, please.
Just a separate issue for the whole panel naman. Regarding inflation, 6.7% for September. There are those who expect it to peak as late as December or even January. I understand the DOF has retained its position that it already peaked in September. Considering the conflicting opinions on this, could we get the opinions of the panel on inflation?
May we have your views? Tapusin na natin para... Sandali lang po, sandali lang. Yes, please. Yes. Sabi mo, walang signal. Sige.
Yun po, sa tingin namin ay hindi pa nga po nagpipeak no, yung inflation and looks like not only at the end of the year but maybe beyond that, may tendency po na talaga pang rumatsyada pa yung inflation. Why? Sa tingin po namin, there's a weakness sa bahagi po ng gobyerno in terms of controlling the prices. No, the official spokesperson of the government was asked about it. Sa halip na sabihin niyang point blank that they can control prices, ang sinasabi niya dapat predicated on martial law bago pa kami makapag-control ng prices. So, napaka-dangerous.
Parang hihingin natin na mag-martial law para makontrol
Para lang
yung presyo.
makontrol yung presyo. So, nakakatakot naman po yung ganong klaseng sagot. So,
Okay.
sa ganang amin po sa existing po nakapangyarihan ng DTI kaya nang kontrolin yung mga presyo. Ang problema lang po talaga, worry ko, yung will po ng gobyerno. Dahil, for example, ang MWSS, sa halip po na sila yung manguna na kontrolin na nga yung presyo ng mga basic commodities, walang kaabog-abog na pinagbigyan
Pagtataas ng tubig.
yung pagtataas ng presyo ng
Okay.
tubig.
Asek, before you leave, sinabi ni Rong Shan, yung economist ng World Bank in a briefing last week, that inflation hits hard the poor people because 2/3 ng kinikita nila ginagastos sa pagkain at transportasyon. Walang pakundangan ng pagtaas ng presyo ng petrolyo. Is there anything that the DOF can do with the taxes being levied on petroleum products?
Well, first, salamat po sa tanong dahil napaka-relevant. The international price of crude imports, the prices were between high 30s, low 40s US dollars per barrel nung isang taon, no? Nung Mayo 2017. Ngayon, nasa high 70s, low 80s na po tayo pagdating sa price per barrel ng crudo. And as we all know, the Philippines is not an oil producer. In fact, we do have very, very little production. Pero hindi po tayo oil producer. So we're a price taker pagdating sa international oil imports. At yan po ay sanhi ng 70 to 75% ng pagtaas ng presyong petrolyo sa ating mga gasolinahan. Yung 25%, 20 to 30%, yan po ay galing sa additional excise from the train law. No? Yan po ay ang around 2 pesos and 97 centavos for gasoline and 2 pesos and 80 centavos per liter for diesel. Ano po ang kapalit niyan doon sa balanse nung package nung train law? Yung kapalit po niyan ay lower personal income tax na pinag-usapan namin ni Mr. Africa kanina. Lower for 99%, ulitin ko po, for 99% of our personal income taxpayers, mas maliit na po ang kanilang binabayaran at mas mataas na po ang exemption threshold. Pangalawa, we are also supporting our health goals. No? Nasabi nga po yung sugar. Pero actually, I think it's a misunderstanding that sugar is taxed. It is not through train. No? It is only sugary beverages. No? Yan
Pero
po ay,
asukal din yung pinagmumula nun.
oo, pero hindi po yung asukal yung tinatax. It's the sugary beverages and on a per liter basis yan. Yan po ay, alam naman natin, ang laki ho ng gastos natin sa public health system natin pagdating sa diabetes. No? So hopefully over time, preferences will shift. At the same time, yung mga naapektuhang manggagawa ay kailangan din pong suportahan para makapag-shift ng employment. No? Kaya po, ang TESDA programs natin ay napondohan naman po yan. Sana po makonect natin no, yung mga nangangailangan ng retraining at saka yung mga programa na yan. Kung hindi pa po nangyayari, it's possible that a number of them have already benefited from that. At saka, meron din po tayong mga gamot na magiging VAT-free na starting January 2019. No? Hypertension, diabetes, at iba pa. Kaya yan po ang kapalit ng train law. Bumaba rin po ang ating taxes on charitable giving. The donor's tax was brought down from 15 to 6%. Yung estate tax bumaba po from 20 to 6% also. Dami hong locked na mga land assets no, dahil hindi po nalilipat yung mga titulo dahil hindi ho kayang bayaran yung estate tax na 20%. So now that's 6%. So again, to see it as a package. Ngayon, pagdating po sa fuel excise, meron ho tayong mekanismo na nasa train law to suspend the next increase. No, yan po ay ang 3-month average of $80 per barrel. Yung 3-month average po ay talagang nag-uumpisa ng October kasi it's the 3 months prior to the next increase. So October, November, December. We're at that level now. We're beyond that level now. DOE will certify by the end of the period kung talagang yung average ay nag-reach ng threshold. Binabantayan po yan ng DOE on a daily basis dahil may subscription po sila doon sa benchmark na tinitingnan natin as the basis. That is in the law. No? So yan po ang mekanismo na pinasa ng Kongreso na nasa train law. Ngayon, meron pong mga pinag-uusapan, may mga panukala na to go beyond the train law and look at other legislative efforts, look at also other executive, legislative mechanisms that might be available para makatulong po dyan, ay nakikinig naman po tayo sa lahat ng mga panukala na yan.
Okay. Yes, please.
Good morning po.
Short comment lang po, sandali.
May kadalaman doon. Hindi ko nahabulin yung earlier comment ko pag alis na lang ni Asset.
Biro.
Siguro maganda i-qualify yung $80 per barrel. Kasi as I understand, walang foreign exchange factor dun sa train law, no?
It's based on MOPS.
Okay. May konting problema dun sa $80 per barrel dun sa nasa train 1 kasi as the train law says, only $80 per barrel monthly for 3 months. Kaso, we don't buy, syempre, yung peso impact ang mahalaga sa atin eh. So we did some rough calculations. Yung $80 per barrel, nung panahon na pinasan train law, prevailing exchange rate was 50 pesos. That's about 4,032 pesos per barrel. Actually, na-breach na siya last month ng September. Nasa 4,038 pesos per barrel na. At least this morning, may nakita akong Dubai na $83 na raw per barrel. So para sa amin, baka maganda pag-aralan din, should we fixate on the $80 or also get the peso equivalent? Kasi kung i-peso equivalent, na-breach na natin last month, at malamang nabe-breach na rin actually this month.
Okay, teka muna. Aalis na si Asek. Tuloy po tayo mga kaibigan, may tanong.
Kukomment lang ako.
Good morning.
Baka marinig pa ni Asik eh.
Sige po, sige po.
Diba
Hoy, wala sasabay kay Asek ha, baka magpunta sa washroom.
Diba, sabi nung Pangulo natin, di ba socialist siya? So hinahanap ko sa train law yung from each according to his ability to each according to his work.
All right, okay. Yes, ma'am.
Good morning po. Sol Vanzi, Manila Bulletin. Sayang nakalis na si Asek. Ang tanong ko obserbasyon. Ngayon ko lang nakita yung angulo o ngayon ko lang nadinig yung angulo na yung train sa sugary drinks parang syntax. Sa tagal-tagal ng pagsubaybay ko sa mga balita tungkol sa epekto ng train, ngayon ko lang nadinig mula sa isang opisyal na ang trato nila doon parang syntax sa sigarilyo at saka sa alak. Ano ho ang reaction nyo doon?
Syntax daw ang dating nung ano.
Para sa amin po, ever since naman nung discussion sa Congress, ang punta namin, yung train law, siya ay revenue measure. Kung kinakargahan nila ng environmental, health, actually para sa amin, decoration lamang yan to justify a basically revenue-generating measure. Para sa amin, we withhold judgment dun sa sugar. Mas maganda pag-aralan nyo ng mga eksperto talaga na pag-usapan ng obesity sa Pilipinas. Pero para sa amin, we don't agree na the train law will address obesity in the Philippines. But the train law will increase revenues kasi alam nila, by their projections, hindi naman babawas ang consumption ng sugary beverages. So apparently, hindi ng pangunahing layuhin na bawasan ang pagkonsumo ng sugary beverages. Actually, ang pangunahing layunin nila, kumita sa alam nilang patuloy na consumption ng sugary beverages.
At saka dagdag din po, no? Ang nakikita po natin konkretong epekto ay yung kawalan ng trabaho. Marami pong mga kumpanya na gumagamit ng o nagpo-produce ng sugary beverages o gumagamit po ng sangkap para sa kanilang ginagawa. Ang nawala na po ng nagtanggal na ng mga manggagawa gamit ang batas na ito. Ngayon, as to kung justified ba na dahil sa train law kaya sila dapat talaga matanggal, minsan po ginagamit din na dahilan para i-justify ang kanilang pagtanggal dahil lang sa ayaw na nilang magregular ng manggagawa.
Kasi po wala naman ako nakitang kampanya ng gobyerno di tulad sa sigarilyo at saka sa alak, lalo na sa sigarilyo, na pinupuntirya yung health aspect. Dito sa sugary drinks, walang ganun. Bigla na lang ngayon nagkaroon ng anggulo na health, kuno.
Okay. Sige po. Thank you very much. Ano kayong pagkakaiba kung ang binuwisan ay yung asin? Dahil yung asin nakakapagpataas ng blood pressure. Kasama nung patis at iba pa.
Sa history, di ba yun nga yung protestahan ni Gandhi eh.
Yung
Yung
asin.
salt tax, oo.
Aha.
Yun nga yung linchpin ng niya, di ba? Campaign for non-violent resistance.
Asin lang.
Oo, di
Hindi, kaya lang ang problema,
hindi trigger mo niyan dito.
nakikinikita ko na sa Pilipinas, pag yun ang binuwisan mo, paano na yung katulad namin nagdidil-dil ng asin? Wala na. No. Questions from the floor, please? Yes, please.
So yung tanong niya kanina kung nag-peak na. Well, another typhoon, more bad news from the Middle East, baka hindi pa nga nagpipeak.
Okay. Yes, please.
For Mr. Africa, regarding sa sagot ni ASEC on the forex impact on fuel, are you satisfied with what he said?
Actually, one of our frustrations is the Department of Finance's figures. I think we should take all estimates by the Department of Finance regarding employment especially and other projections with a grain of salt. Why do I say that? When they said in 2017 not to worry about the excise taxes, I remember they predicted only about 34, 35 pesos would be the price of diesel in 2018. Only about 45, 46 pesos to the price of gasoline. They claimed this year that they were surprised by the peso depreciation and global oil prices rising. That's very surprising because the peso has been depreciating since 2013. Global oil prices have been increasing since 2016. So a simple linear extrapolation would have shown the peso would have kept falling, oil price would have kept increasing. So we think they were feigning surprise when things went for the worse now. And I think, unfortunately, I would have said this if it asked this while the ASIC was here. The UF has a vested interest in rising oil prices because their revenues increase with every peso increase in oil. Our rough estimates, because of trains oil excise taxes, the government now gets about 86 million pesos a day additional revenues from diesel and about 51 million pesos every day from diesel. So I think they have a vested
Gas and diesel.
from
Yung
gas and diesel. So it's about 100. We haven't competed for kerosene. I'm
Magkano
afraid.
yung gas?
51 million pesos a day from diesel, from gasoline, 86 million pesos a day from diesel.
Ganon.
Yeah.
So the more traffic, the better because the more gas you consume,
Yeah.
the more taxes
And
we pay.
the more old cars on the road. Tapos, I know he had the parting shot to 99%. I would invite everyone to really look at the train law very closely because the 99%, that's something they claim that is completely untrue. The Philippines has about 23 million families. Out of those 23 million Filipino families, the BIR reported only 7.5 million income taxpayers paying income tax. 5.5 million of those only 5.5 million are actually taxpayers. Why? Because the 2 million of that 7.5 million are minimum wage earners and accepted. So when the DUF says that 99% of taxpayers benefit, to give the impression that 99% of Filipinos benefited, they're only referring to the 4.7 million newly exempted and 750,000 paying lower personal income taxes. So that's only about roughly 5.5 million taxpayers benefiting from train out of 23 million Filipino families, whereas the poorest 17.2 million Filipino families with no income tax gains are paying higher consumption taxes. So parang gusto namin i-stress talaga yun. It's very worthwhile to belie the claims of the Department of Finance that 99% of taxpayers benefit. If they want to give the impression that 99% of Filipinos benefit, because that's not true.
Sunny, what you're saying is parang sugar-coated bullet yun. Na maganda, marami nakikinabang, pero sa katotohanan, wala pala.
I think there's a very bad selectivity in the presentation of data by the Department of Finance. That's why I go back to the point also. I hope we take all the estimates, especially about the employment benefits from Trabaho with a grain of salt. It is notoriously impossible to estimate employment gains. There are too many variables. I think ASIC Lambino mentioned so many variables there. I think what we will be seeing now with any sort of presentation about potential gains from Trabaho, they're just basically highlighting speculative gains from Trabaho bill to justify the regressive tax measures they want to put in place. So para sa amin, the certainty of regressiveness, first principles is much more important than fabricated gains in the future. And I think I invite everyone also to go back to so many estimates by the Philippine government for employment benefits from entering the WTO, from entering to the Japan-Philippine Trade Agreement. No one can compute employment gains. And I think even the argumentation that if you increase their working capital, they will invest more. In principle, yes, but if that is happening amid the global economic decline, if that is happening amid rising interest rates, if that's happening amid persistent poverty in the Philippines, these are going to be completely made-up employment figures just to give a sugar coating for a basically aggressive tax measure. So I think it's a sugar coating of something that really should not be implemented.
But can't you say also the same about the estimates of some companies and industry groups about job losses?
I think we should, of course, give a separate reckoning for individual corporations. I mean, if they genuinely say that by their computations, their 5-year revenue stream will be affected, then we take that. But we're arguing against fanciful general equilibrium models that hold so many things equal. Those are just, I think, job generation that is completely fabricated to justify, again, a basically aggressive tax measure. But we would give weight to businesses, and basically, they can be held to account for that afterwards. If despite the Trabaho bill, they did stay in place, well, then we know that they were just scaring the administration.
Okay, just one more. I think Mr. Africa didn't answer the question about the peak of inflation.
I think it's part of the economic manager's job, especially the Bangko Sentral, but also the Department of Finance, not to admit to higher inflation. They are afraid of stoking inflationary expectations. So in the same way that we think fabricated gains in terms of jobs should be taken with a grain of salt, I think inflation projections should also be taken with a grain of salt because they are institutionally prohibited from claiming higher inflation not to stoke inflationary expectations. Having said that, I think the conditions are there for a worsening of inflation. The peso continues to fall, global oil prices still continue to increase. I think we saw an uptick from about $75 in September to over $80 per barrel in Dubai the last few days. So I think the general tendency, there are more factors going against lower inflation than higher inflation, especially because the measures being taken by the government are very tepid. Just quick example, setting up so many stores in Metro Manila, like the Tienda, Malasakit, and all these stores, if they're just getting supply from the regions, they will drive up food inflation in the regions just to lower food inflation in Metro Manila. So the bottom line is, if we're lacking in supply, if there are supply bottlenecks, those should be addressed immediately, not with sort of tepid half measures like, piggybacking agricultural liberalization through administrative order and modifying various republic acts that put in place protections for Philippine agriculture.
That's interesting because inflation in NCR actually went lower compared to the rest of the country.
Just like Bicol region.
Yeah.
I think that's worth investigating because I know that Tienda Malasakit stores, the Suking Tindahan by the DTI, they have been very active the last few months. I think if the President feels political pressure right now, especially from the National Capital Region, I think there's enough initial evidence to investigate. Why is food inflation in non-food producing NCR lower than in other food producing regions? And we suspect, I think it's worth investigating, we suspect it's because there's a diversion of food supplies from the regions to try to sort of stem the mounting outrage against the administration in NCR.
Thank you.
More questions? Ano impact dun sa sinasabi what we cannot produce, we either import or smuggle?
Alam niyo sa amin, it has to be established. If our food productivity is low, if our food supply is low, then of course we should import more. But if by the short-term emergency measure of importing, we piggyback a permanent removal of agricultural protections, what we're doing is we're permanently displacing farm livelihoods, fisheries livelihoods for short-term gain. So for us, we need damage control measures to avert rising inflation in terms of food supplies. If there's not enough domestically, we should import. But it's very odd right now that this dogmatic insistence on agricultural liberalization is being piggybacked on an administrative order. And our understanding is that an AO does not trump a Republic Act. But by virtue of AO 13, passed by the administration, signed by the President last month, they mean to take away protections that are in the Republic Act. So we're actually even wondering about the legality of agricultural liberalization through an administrative order.
You see some impact or irregularity?
We think this insistence on this failed economics of liberalization is at play. Unfortunately, if the economic managers don't correct their thinking that the government has to step in to protect and support domestic agriculture, if they send this thinking that this false thinking that opening up the domestic economy will strengthen the domestic economy, that is not the case. Domestic agriculture is not strengthened with liberalization. Domestic industry is not strengthened with liberalization. So para sa amin, it's very suspicious that this short-term measure of increasing imports is being used as a way to permanently liberalize domestic agriculture.
Okay. Yes, please.
Inflation aside, we should be serious about food diplomacy, food security, and food sovereignty.
Why?
It's our commitment because we cannot be a strong nation. We might dissolve as a nation without food sovereignty.
Okay.
Sige po, quick comment lang siguro dun sa job projection. No? Parang ang banggit kanina over an 11-year period, 1.4 million net jobs daw ang gain because of the train law. So siguro the figures in itself ay parang maliit yata masyado for it na masabi natin na magkakaroon ng malaking impact. Pangalawa, magge-generate daw ng jobs, pero ano naman yung kalidad ng mga trabahong ito? No? Hindi garantiya na kapag binaba natin yung corporate income tax, yung natipid ng mga korporasyon ay gagamitin para mag-hire ng dagdag na tao o dagdagan yung sahod at benepisyo ng kanilang mga trabahador na. No? So, mahirap talaga mag-assume na gano'n kasi in the first place, ang ginagawa po talaga ng maraming negosyo, kung gustong magtipid, ang unang-unang ginagawa ay magbawas ng tao, magbawas ng sahod, magtanggal, magalis ng mga benepisyo.
Given that scenario, mababawasan din ang miyembro ng union.
Exactly. Ganun po yung ating magiging problema dahil bagamat legally pwedeng maging members ng union kahit hindi pa regular, ang problema kung minember mo na ng union yung hindi pa regular, yun ang magiging dahilan para sa itanggalin ng kumpanya.
Para hindi na ayusin ang kontrata.
Opo. Yung po yung problema sa maraming negosyante, hindi nila nakikita na habang mas nakakausap mo ng maayos at matino yung mga manggagawa sa pamamagitan ng union, ay mas maaring makapagbuo ng mga solusyon na pwedeng pagtulungan para makamit natin, matugunan natin yung mga problema ang kinakaharap ng kumpanya at saka ng bansa.
Okay, please.
Sir, Pat Santos, Tribune. Sir, ito lang last week, naka-attend ako ng forum. Yung mga American Chamber of Commerce, yung mga IT, BPO. May mga concern sila sa Train 2, kung saan tinawag nila ang Train 2, nakiusap sila sa, meron silang position paper yata sa Senate. Nakikiusap sila na pakinggan yung concern nila. Ang threat nila, sir, siguro 2 to 5 years, pagka napilipit sila, mapipwersa silang lumipat sa mga neighboring natin like Vietnam. May mga offer sa kanila eh. Kasi unang-una yung power, napakamahal. Tapos yung mga labor question tsaka mga problem. Sir, ano pananaw nyo kung sakaling ipilit to talagang Train 2 na to na on government terms, yung masusunod hindi pakikinggan yung
Yung iba't ibang sektor.
yung mga iba't ibang sektor.
Ano kinabukasan natin? Maliwanag ba? Madilim? Mula sa sektor ng mga manggagawa?
Ayun na po, ang problema po natin yung pong mismong kung saan nanggagaling yung pamahalaan natin eh. Kasi ipipilit niya yung train hanggang gusto niya. Kasi kumbaga may kasabihan nga tayo, no? Kung gusto, may paraan. Kung ayaw, maraming dahilan. No? So, come hell or high water, talagang ipipilit nila yung train law. And yet, hirap na hirap tayo ipasa yung Security of Tenure Bill.
Okay.
Hirap na hirap tayo ipasa yung Anti-Contractualization Bill. No? So, problema po yun. May gumagamit ang pamahalaan ng political will pero selectively. Parang walang masyadong pinag-iba dun sa pagpipresenta nila ng datos. Selective din.
Okay. Please.
Tama. Sino nga bang happy sa train? Kung yung mga chambers of commerce may reklamo, labor unions may reklamo, hindi ko rin alam. Mukhang madilim nga. And then, another typhoon.
Delikado.
Kasi fact of life na yung climate change eh.
Okay. Sunny.
Alam nyo, hindi talaga kami sigurado sa may impact sa trabaho. Ang medyo sigurado sa amin, exaggerated na sabihin na maglilika ng trabaho ang train. Kasi ang pangunahing problema natin ay bagsak ang demand sa local economy kasi atrasado tayo. Mahinang industriya, mahinang agrikultura, mahirap ang mamamayan. So kung sa ganyang klaseng kalagayan na manipis ang merkado sa local economy, sa kalagayan na matumal na rin ang action global economy ngayon at may napipintong financial crisis, sabi ka even IMF noong nakarang buwan, hindi actually primarily problema to ng kailangan ng dagdag na pera sa bulsa ng mga kumpanya. Ang mas malaking problema, hindi favorable economic conditions. At yun ang punto nga namin, sa ganyang klaseng kalagayan, hindi pwede panghawakan ng isang katang-isip na employment gains at gamitin para i-justify yung talagang napaka-regresibong tax system. Para sa amin, ang malinaw na conclusion sa Train 2, sa trabaho, ay maging regresibo ang ating tax system. Invento lamang para sa amin yung mga employment gain. So para sa amin, tututulan namin yung Train 2 kasi pinapalala niya yung pingin-regresibo ng tax system ng Pilipinas. Sa halip na buwisan yung mga may kaya magbayad at pagaanin yung buhay ng mga kulang, yung Train 1 at Train 2, magkakambal yan, ay pinapahirap actually na karaming Pilipino, maging yung mga maliliit na mga negosyante. So para sa amin, may problema talaga sa disenyo po.
Kahapon kasi sir, nakausap namin si Nerico Liminari sa isang forum. Ang sabi niya, ang sinisisi ni Sir Neri, yung ambisyosong build. kaya pinupush yung train. Walang pagkukunan talaga ng pera. Na dapat, ang kaya lang ng Pilipinas, owner. Bakit bumibili ng Mercedes-Benz na ano? Ganun niya kinumpare yung sitwasyon.
Alam niyo, pag gusto namin linawin, hindi kami tutol na magkaroon ng sistema sa pagbubuwis ng pamahalaan. Lahat ng gobyerno naniningil ng buwis eh. MILF man yan, or NPA, o yung Vatican, yung Philippine government. Ang punto lang namin, kung mag-disenyo ng tax system, dapat singilin yung mga may kaya, magbayad ng buwis. At para sa amin, yung pinakadelikado dito sa pagdisenyo ng Train 1 at Train 2, yung mga may kaya na, binabawasan pa yung buwis sa kanila. So para sa amin, napakasimple lang. Kung dagdagan lamang halimbawang personal income tax sa richest 2.5% ng populasyon, hindi kailangan mag-consumption taxes sa pinakamahirap. Magdagdag lamang ng 10 to 20 percentage points ng income tax sa richest 2.5%, pwede kumita ng 130 billion pesos ang pamahalaan. Of course, mga galit yung kalahati milyon na yan, pero sa halip na magalit yung napakaraming milyon-milyon Pilipino na walang kakayanan magbayad ng buwis, isingilin na natin yung mga may kaya magbayad. Pero unfortunately, yung Train 1, binawasan ang binabayad ng mayaman sa personal income tax. Iko-correct ko nga si Asek. Papadala ko yung Excel files namin, computation. Hindi totoo na 8 million above tataasan ng bayad ng buwis nila. Para sa amin, kung maniningil ng buwis, singilin yung mga may kaya magbayad. Hindi bawasan ng personal income tax, bawasan ng estate tax, mga mana. Kung may reklamo tayo, kukonsentra ng yaman ngayon. Sa pagbawas ng estate tax, lalong kukonsentra ng yaman sa ating bansa.
Okay. Please.
Sa paspasan at saka sustainable na paglikha ng trabaho, mula sa kasaysayan, ewan ko lang, siguro dapat tignan natin yung New Deal ni Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Kasi yun ang nag-ahon sa US mula sa Great Depression saka World War II. May second Bill of Rights din doon eh. So siguro dapat ganun yung package.
Okay. More questions from the Labor Beat reporter, Sam, Tonton. Meron pa? Ton? Okay. We'd like to say, pahabol. Sige po.
Nandinig ko sa radyo kaming over na pinag-iisipan yung wage hike sa NCR. Tingin namin, maganda yung sinasabi ni Secretary Bello na at least 20 pesos.
At least.
At least. Kung ibig sabihin nun ay lagpas sa 20 pesos. Kasi yung 20 pesos ay, kung gano'n lang, kahit 21 pesos yung aumento, makakabili namin yan ng 7 perasong sili sa kasalukuyang presyo ng sili. Tingin namin yung totoong computation dapat, para sumabay lamang sa pagtaas ng presyo ng bilihin since the start of the year, dapat 27 pesos yung wage hike. Para mabalik lamang halaga ng minimum wage to the start of the Tate administration noong July 2016, kailangan 36 pesos. So para sa amin, hindi namin sinasabi sapat yon, pero kung hindi man umabot ng 27 pesos yung aumento na bibigay sa NCR, hindi pa yan sinabayan ng inflation itong first 8-9 months of the year.
Okay. Looking forward, kakaroon ng Train 2 eh. Will we have a Happy New Year 2019?
Ngayon po, nagsisimula na. Meron na pong labor unrest. Yung pong bilang ng mga strikes na nafa-file na notice of strike at yung pong mga aktual na mga strike na nakukondukta, sa taon pong ito ay malaki po ang dinami sa bilang.
So, yun ang may katwiran pala, natanggalin si Yusek Joel Maglunsod. Dahil sa nabanggit ni Pangulong Digong, na kaya nagkaganon, nandun si Yusek Joel.
Parang mali po yata. Kasi po kaya po nagwewelga ang mga manggagawa dahil sa mga barat na employer, hindi po dahil kay Yusek Maglunsod.
Okay. Please.
Para sa 1%, di lang Happy New Year. Happy sila everyday eh. Yung 99%, hindi ko alam. Pipilitin natin sigurong maging masaya kasi mayroong pursuit of happiness, pero
Iba yun, ano? Iba yun. Hindi, paano kasi, pati yung gustong tumaya sa loto, may tax na rin. So, paano yun?
di lalo na pag nagkaroon tayo ng federal states, dadami yung kailangan imbentohin na tax. Pati
Okay.
tampon tax
At iba pa.
at iba pa.
All right. Parang masyadong antigo yung sinasabi mo.
Hindi, sa United Kingdom at saka sa US, di ba federal, may tampon tax sila eh.
Wala rito nun eh. Hindi na uuso
O kasi with wings ang ginagamit dito.
Yata, oo. Yes, please. Sunny.
Para sa amin po, naniniwala kami, ang daming pwede gawin ng pamahalaan para hindi ko di man resolbahin, at least pagaanin yung nararamdaman ng milyon-milyon Pilipino dahil sa inflation. Para sa amin, napaka matabang ang measures ng government so far in the first 9 months. Napaka-dismissive nila sa epekto ng inflation. At tingin namin kung gusto nila mag-send ng strong signal na seryoso sila sa pag-address ng short-term difficulties ng mahirap na pamilyang Pilipino at i-address yung long-term causes ng inflation, kailangan mas may decisive na step siya. Para sa amin, hindi nawawala yung aming paniniwala. Dapat labag man sa self-interest ng Department of Finance so kumita sa bawat piso ng increase ng oil products. Tingin namin dapat isuspend na kaagad yung implementation ng oil excise and actually even coal and SSB na napaka-inflationary right now. Sa Train 1 yon. Tingin namin kung gusto niya seryoso din siya sa pag-crackdown sa mga mapagsamantalang negosyante, mag-declare siya ng price control, price ceiling. Nasa Price Act, yung poder ng presidente, kahit walang kalamidad, mag-declare ng price controls in situations of unreasonable price increases, in situations of illegal price manipulation. Yung dalawang sakbangin lamang niyan para sa amin, sends a strong signal, seryoso administration to address inflation, naniwala sila na may problema at may immediate relief na may bibigay yon. Ganun pa man, tingin namin napakahalaga i-address yung long-term causes ng inflation. Atrasado ang ating local economy, atrasado ang agriculture, dapat dagdagan ng budget for Department of Agriculture, dapat i-increase ang food productivity natin para maging mas mura ang pagkain in the coming period at hindi na tayo umaangkat na ang pambayad doon ay dollars na magkukos ang further depreciation ng ating peso over the long term. Lalo na ang ating industry ay napakatrasado and we're so dependent on imported industrial products. So tingin namin may short-term and long-term causing inflation. Malalawak ang kapangyarihan ng poder ng pamahalaan to address inflation, dapat gawin niya yan. And we also conclude yung wage hike is completely within the control of the government. A meaningful wage hike sa Metro Manila is important. Kinupute namin with inflation. Yung family living wage for a family of 5 in Metro Manila is 1,001 pesos already. Kung mananatili at 512 pesos, kahit gawin 533 pesos yan, kulang na kulang pa rin yan doon sa pangailangan ng isang pamilya ng 5. Kinumpute namin yung average profits ng mga NCR establishments. More or less 18% cut lamang in profits ang kinakailangan without increasing prices. Yung smaller firms can be helped with subsidies and tax breaks and incentives para ibayad yung dagdag na sahod na yan.
Okay. Meron ba kayong ginawang pag-aaral? Ito, preview for next week because this will be our topic. Paano tumutugon sa pangangailangang medical ang mga mahihirap? Dahil sabi ng World Bank, more than 2/3 ang nagagastos ng mga mahihirap sa pagkain at transportasyon. Pag nagkasakit, saan pupunta yan? Kay Mang Kepweng? Ano ba? Meron ba kayong pagsusuri?
Para sa amin, babalik din talaga kami. Kung mag-raise ng revenues ang gobyerno at mag-build siya ng infrastructure, dapat tayong priority sa social infrastructure. Kabilang dyan ay mga hospital. So medyo nababahala kami na in the 2019 budget, hindi ko ma-recall ngayon, na bawasan ang budget actually in Department of Health. Nabawasan yung infrastructure facilities in terms of hospital buildings ng health system natin. Tingin namin, problema yon. Nasa kamay ng gobyerno to increase the public health system that helps in two ways. May direct services siya. At ikalawa, yung mga private hospitals, maobliga sila na rendahan yung profit premium nila sa pagsiging ng serbisyo kung malusog ang public health system.
Yeah, nabalita kasi sa akin may isang ospital, pag medyo pang ICU ka, you should have a million upfront bago ka ipasok sa ICU. Isang kamay ka ni Abraham kukuha ng ganun. Anyway, I'm reminded of two former senators who said important things. One of them is Jose Wright Jokno, who said, if you want to solve the problems in the Philippines, 4 key words: jobs and justice, food and freedom. While I may not necessarily agree with what Senator Juan Ponce Enrile said some time ago, na walang na-aresto nung martial law, I believe in his saying. Yung sinasabi niya, gusto ko happy ka. So dapat, ganun ang gobyerno natin. Maraming salamat po. Magandang araw.